we've got Sam Freedman from Anthony Freedman Racing. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for coming. I suppose the first question is, how long before you become partner with your dad in training?
No, I don't know. I'm not in any real rush. I'm just enjoying sort of learning under him. So he'll probably make a decision if it happens. You know, when he thinks I'm ready.
His decision, not yours.
Yeah, his call.
Okay. All right, we're going to go through our stable of horses and probably get a bit of an update on Centre and the Lane after that. So the spring didn't get off to a good start yesterday. We had Lane Immortal running at Caulfield, and he was our big hope going through the spring, and he was probably disappointing to say the least. And how did he pull up this morning, mate? Any issues?
No, look, he pulled up really well, which is positive and negative. He's come through the run well, and yeah, yesterday was a little bit disappointing. He was just a bit slow away and didn't get to the role that he likes to play, which was rolling along in front. And yeah, it was a bit of a disaster pretty much the whole way throughout. So to the drawing board with him, but there's sort of a few little tricks up our sleeve with him, and hopefully we can get him bounce back.
So prior to the run, did you think he made the necessary steps to sort of compete with the 3-year-olds, or in the back of your mind were you a little bit worried before the run?
Yeah, well, early in his prep, this time he was just taking a while to come to hand. He was working okay, but his trials were probably satisfactory for the way we know he can trial. But his jump out last week at Mornington showed us that we thought he'd come back to the way he had been going, and he was fit and ready to go to the races. So taking that step from 2 to 3 could be hard, because he was ready to rock and roll early as a 2-year-old, and other horses mature at different times and they catch up to you. And but going into the race, you're hopeful. We weren't certain that he definitely made those steps, and you couldn't say categorically that he definitely still hasn't made that step. But he's just got to still make some improvement to match it with those top 3-year-olds.
Yep, so I suppose I think we're going to try Winkers next start and then play around with a few gear changes and just see if we can spark him up a bit. A bit of a favourite of mine is It's a Yes from me. He's having a jump out on Wednesday. Yeah, so how's he come back from a spell physically, mentally? Has there been any changes that you've noticed?
Yeah, physically he probably hasn't grown a lot. He's a pretty small horse, Dundeal's quite small as well, so it's not unusual for him to stay that size, but he's got a very big stride for quite a small horse, and that's always been the opinion of all the track riders when he was up and going at 2. So he hasn't grown, but he's got a beautiful coat on him. He looks fantastic. He's working really nicely. So with him, you just got to keep him quite relaxed, and so a lot of the work we do with him is just behind horses, getting to switch off, and if he can just switch off a bit better and we can get him out to a trip over a mile, that'll open up a lot more doors for him. But he seems to be going nicely. He should jump out really well then. So.
Yeah, that was sort of my next question. He's out of a reduced man, and that crosses the same as supersets. So does he look like? I mean, his mother was. She actually ran 4th in 2 Golden Slippers in the lead up. So I think that's where he gets his sort of speed from. Does he look like he'll get out to a mile to you?
Not too sure. He's just got to learn to relax a bit, which is what we've been trying to do with him. But his action and his work suggests that he can definitely get out to 400 and hopefully a mile. But he really might take a bit of racing and improve his manners in his runs, and get a couple of runs under his belt, and then he might relax and settle to run that sort of trip. Obviously the cross, the superset, we're still not 100% certain if he'll get a mile, so there might be something in that cross, maybe they don't get over further. And if not, he's still going to be a really nice sprinting horse, and hopefully It's a Yes from me can make the steps that they all need to make when they go to 3 and be competitive in some of those later sort of spring races. We've got him in at a time now where he can be sort of up and going towards the end of the spring and into that start of the summer. So if he's good enough to match with the spring horse, he'll be up at the right time, and if not, he'll still have plenty of time through the summer months.
Okay, the next one is a new horse we purchased. We only purchased him from New Zealand. He only came across 2 weeks ago. He's by a side called Jimmy Choo. Jimmy Choo won the New Zealand Derby, won the Rosehill Guineas, and I was on him in the Cox Plate when he turned the corner and he was in front, and this thing called Pinker came up on his inside and beat him, which was a big blowout on the day. And he's out of a mare called Hidden Passion. So this is an unraced 3-year-old geldie. We think he'll be a milder, sort of middle distance type horse, but Jimmy Choo did win the New Zealand Derby, so he may get out for the Derby distance. And yeah, so he's only been here 2 weeks. What's your opinion of him in the early days, mate?
Yeah, look, he's going really well. He arrived a couple of weeks ago, and he was, already had a bit of fitness under his belt, so we've got him pretty much up and going. He's probably 10 days or so off the jump out. He's giving our riders a good feel. He's got a beautiful action on him, and his mind's pretty good. He was a little bit hot when he first arrived, but he's settled in really well at Pinewood. And the guy the track rider was riding gave a bit of a push to a few of his mates to go in the horse. I think they've gone into him, so that's always a good sign. And Dad's never been the biggest fan of Jimmy Choo, but he's a horse that Dad's actually taken a liking to. So I'd be surprised if he's not. Fairly much. It takes some with Dad to get some sort of opinion on him, and he seems to really like him.
Yeah, that is a good sign when Anthony does like him. The first day he arrived, I was there in the morning. He said, I haven't seen this horse, so I went around to the stables to have a look with him. Looked at him and went, yeah, he's a nice horse. Thinking, oh, thank God. I know Anthony gets a bad opinion early on. He doesn't like those horses. But he actually you haven't really galloped him yet, have you? You've just been sort of doing some slow work with him?
Yeah, like he's done some 14s, which is just short of gallop. He's down to have some work on Tuesday and improving gallop. So that's when you start to really see what's under the bonnet. And but in the work that he's done so far, he's done it very easily. He's quite clean-winded, so he gives us the impression he should get over a bit of distance. But yeah, as I said, every sign's been good so far.
Yeah, so this is normally we have been just buying horses as yearlings. This is a horse we actually bought off a trial. He won a trial on the 29th of July in New Zealand, and he's not here today, couldn't make it today, but Lenny Russo from Bluegrass Bloodstock, who does a lot of work sourcing horses from New Zealand, he identified this horse as being, well, his opinion was that it was stakes class type of horse in Australia. So I saw the trial, loved the action, everyone sort of says the same thing. So he's a different type of horse. He's a 3-year-old, he's unraced, he's unnamed, but he will be named in the next week. And he should be going to the races by October sometime, probably late October. Next one is the Ocean Park New Zealand filly, who is jumping out on Wednesday as well. She's a staying type of filly. We did have the full brother, who was no good, but she does trial differently to him. So we do believe she's got a bit more ability than him, but I believe she's not the best back worker. But what sort of guide has she given to you so far?
Yeah, she's been going nicely this prep. She jumped out nicely last prep at Balnearing with the winkers on towards the end of that prep, and we gave her a good spell to let her grow and mature, and she's come back this time. Obviously Ocean Park to get over a bit of distance, but her jump out last time 10 days ago was solid, and we'll put the winkers on for a jump out on Wednesday, and that should sharpen her up a little bit more. But she's really straightforward. She's a beautiful type, and she seems to be going nicely, so she will get to the races this prep. She's not a worry, and she's been very sound, very straightforward, and she'll improve as she gets out in distance. So if she can show us what she's showing us now, as she gets out to a mile and then maybe even a bit further, but she's going well.
Yeah, so she's a 3-year-old filly. She's very strong, built like a colt in the way. She's fully sold, so you can't buy into her anyway. But hopefully she goes good on Wednesday, and we'll get her to the races about 10 to 12 days after that. The other unraced 3-year-old we've got is the So You Think Vaziri geldie. He's been a bit of a late maturer, which is not unlike most of the So You Thinks. They don't really win as 2-year-olds, and not many of them really run as 2-year-olds anyway. So what's he been doing? He's sort of he's a bit earlier in his prep than the Ocean Park filly. So where's he at the moment?
Yeah, he's in at Anganash did a lot of pre-training for us, so he's in there, and like I said, he's just been a slow maturing. He's probably still some way off. He's really got to grow into himself, and he's just a frame at the moment. And he'll be an out-and-out stayer, so we probably won't see the best of him until he gets out to a trip. So he's just sitting on nicely there. He's probably still a couple of weeks, a few weeks off the jump out, but he mightn't be a horse we'll see necessarily in the spring, but he's the sort of horse you'll see over that New Year period. Hopefully, he can get in some of those staying races and he can start to see the best of him. But he's just a horse that's going to take a bit of time, and he's hopefully going to be in some of those nice staying races after the New Year.
Yeah, so he's a bit late for the spring already now because he's only still at Amy's at the moment. But yeah, we'll trial him up a couple of times and then get him to the races and then see where he goes from there. But we're probably more looking towards the autumn with him. The 2-year-olds, we've got the horse that we sort of targeted after I Am Immortal won a couple of those Blue Diamond preludes was a Written Tycoon Queenie 2-year-old colt. He's a flashy looking horse, very athletic. He galloped at the end of last prep and he showed a bit of speed, showed a few gears I should say. So yeah, what's the opinion of him so far?
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. He'd be in the sort of top bracket of our 2-year-olds so far that we've done anything with, so he's going to be a fairly exciting 2-year-old. He's had just over 5 weeks in the paddock now, and we'll give him another couple of weeks and he should be in it at that sort of time where if you're good enough, you can progress to some of those really nice 2-year-old races. But he looks sharp early, he knows his job. He got up to Flemington, settled in nicely up there, galloped in company and had his workmate covered, so he's going to be a really exciting horse, and hopefully he can feature in some of those big 2-year-old races after the year.
With the 2-year-olds, do you find the environment at Flemington matures them quicker? Does it sort of get them switched on, or can you train the 2-year-olds at Pinecliff just as good?
Yeah, it really depends on the horse. We get them all up to Flemington at some stage of their preparation. We tend to get them up there, we get them into Pinecliff initially and they do a couple of weeks there, and then if they're mentally handling it all, we'll get them up to Flemington for a couple of weeks. And we just find some of those really immature green horses, Pinecliff is very relaxed and you can get away with doing a few little things here and there, especially the colts. As soon as you get them up to Flemington, they sink or swim up there basically, so there's so much going on, it's so busy, and they've got to learn pretty quickly how to behave. And so it's really just important with conditioning them mentally and changing them between locations, putting them on a truck, allowing them to see all different things. We like to think our 2-year-olds go to races, they're well behaved, they know what to do, they're not going to lose their mind on race day, and then we feel having those two properties, Flemington, just moving them between the two, really works well for them. So he's a horse that finished his last prep up at Flemington, the Written Tycoon colt, and but that's not to say that you can't train 2-year-olds out of Pinecliff. A filly like Lyre, she's trained predominantly out of Pinecliff and heads up to Flemington the week of a race and races there and then gets back to Pinecliff. So I'm Immortals raced from both and did a lot of his racing life preparation from Flemington, and it's really just horse to horse, and you figure out pretty early on which horses don't handle the conditions up at Flemington. Some of the fillies perhaps it's a bit too much for them, and then Pinecliff really suited for them, but you just give them all an opportunity to show whether they're going to be suited to that environment.
So I think you had about 17 2-year-old winners last year, something like that. And you seem to be a stable that's known for, sort of getting your 2-year-olds right and placing them right. Is there sort of some knack? Do you see something in the way they behave to know when they're ready to go to the races, or is it just purely what they do in track work, or is there some sort of trick that you want to tell Dave about so that train some more 2-year-old winners?
No, I guess they really tell you when they're ready to go to the races. You let them guide you on where they're at mentally and physically. And Anthony really earmarks early the horses he thinks are going to go early, and it's all about timing really. On that horse like I spoke of before, the Written Tycoon colt. He probably could easily have been running in that race on Wednesday, but there's no great advantage in having a horse running over 900 metres. That's our opinion. So if they're going to be really nice, we'll give them that time and they come in. I think last year we didn't have a 2-year-old runner before New Year's Day. Right? So Lyre was one of our first 2-year-old runners and she ran on New Year's Day. And So that just, it just shows you don't have to have them up and going in the spring. And in fact, I'd be surprised if we've got a 2-year-old at the races, again before New Year. So really just making sure that they're ready to go to the races. And we're not afraid to trial them a couple of times, and they might be ready to go, but just tip them back within that extra bit of time. And there's so many races. 4 2-year-olds can get caught up a little bit in having them get into the races early on, and they disappoint you, and then you're back to the drawing board. So we really make sure that if the 2-year-old's going to the races, he or she's ready to go, and they can run really well.
Okay, the Schnitzel Mumbai Rock 2-year-old filly. She was one filly we purchased out of Magic Millions. The Mumbai Rock was I think she got sold for $1.1 million as a 2-year-old filly, a fast-net rock filly. So the pedigree behind this filly is quite strong. She showed some early promise, but started to feel her prep, but then needed to spell again. So what sort of opinion have you got her?
Yeah, she's nice. She looks like a sharp running 2-year-old. She's not dissimilar to a lot of the 6-year-olds. She's quite small. She hasn't grown a whole lot from when she was beginning, but a lot of the 6-year-olds can be like that anyway. So yeah, she's having a nice break at the moment. The weather picks up. She's really come on in her coat. Hopefully she grows a bit. But she knew her job. She was very sharp. She got up to Flemington as well last preparation, and just started to feel the pinch of her prep last time in. So getting inside the line down in her box and just went off her feet a little bit. So we give her a nice spell now, and she'll come back in and she'll get her chance. Again towards that New Year period, and just they're so diverse. You get those ones that are really sharp and early, and you get them over those distance trips. But she seemed like a pretty sharp sprinting filly for us.
Yeah, you mentioned schnitzels. They do come in all shapes and sizes. The smaller types tend to be the better ones. So have you trained a lot of schnitzels throughout at Flemington and Brighton?
We've trained a lot of slow ones, unfortunately. they're all quite big and heavy. So we've got a little filly called Paris who won this prep, and we tested in the deep end last time. Actually, a little disappointed, but she's tiny. She's very fast and knows her job. So sort of our opinion, we're hoping that the big ones are all the slow ones, and then the smaller ones are the sharp, nice ones.
Okay, and the final one we have is the Zoo Star Final Scent 2-year-old filly, which is raced by the all-female syndicate, the Dreamville syndicate. She's had a couple of preps as well, similar to the Schnitzel. She sort of felt she needed another spell, but she showed a little bit in her last prep.
Yeah, she did. She's not overly big, but she looked sharp, and she really would appreciate this spring on her back. She's had a good break now. She's had 8 weeks out, and she'll probably have another 10 days or so, and then we'll get her in. And those fillies, if you got them out at the right time and they get the nice weather on their backs, then they can really develop them to. It can make a big difference physically. So she's had all that time now to grow and mature, and we'll have a good prep with her next time. Whether she gets to the races next preparation or not isn't a great concern for us. She's going to be probably an after Christmas, after New Year type 2-year-old. But she was giving all the signs early. Again, she was up at Flemington and just gave us the signs that she was ready for a good break. So she'll definitely benefit from that.
Yeah, so these 2-year-olds come in and out, preps, and before Christmas there's really not many races around for 2-year-olds anyway, so you want them up and going around January, February, is when the Blue Diamond time is upon us. So, but she probably will be a filly that just need a little bit more time, and she'll be more late autumn than a Blue Diamond type. But we're having a all-female function on the 9th of October at the Emerson on the rooftop, and Sam will be there again, just talking about the filly. The filly will be back in work by then, so we'll have a bit more, we can video her back at Pinecliff and show everyone there on the night. But,
any ladies that want to come, obviously.
Yeah, so they're taking all female. Yes, Sam.
We're pretty keen to try and encourage people.
Yeah, that's why the females want to come, because Sam's going to do it. So I'll have more information on that in the newsletter in the coming week. But before we let Sam go, we might just get an update on probably well, I don't know if everyone's been watching Racing.com over the last week, but they keep showing the replay of Mr. Sneaky getting beat by Santa in the Ruby Clark, which has hurt us a bit. But Santa and Lane since he beat Mr. Sneaky in that Group 1, the Ruby Clark, it was 2 years ago, has probably become Australia's best sprinter. So where's he at? He's aiming for the Everest this year. Where's he at now?
Yeah, no, obviously he was down to run yesterday up in Sydney, and they got I think 85 mils for the week, so we had to make a decision on Thursday, whether we sent him up to run or not. We decided to scratch him and save him for another day. So look, he's going really well. His trials have been as good as they always are, and he's such a straightforward horse to train. He just eats, sleeps, works, and just keep him happy and get him to races healthy. So he'll run in 2 weeks. Time will either be in the Gilgai down the straight or the Premier Stakes up in Sydney. Probably monitor the weather again on that day. But having him in both states will help us make that decision. But he's going really well. And watching that race yesterday, the track obviously probably wasn't as heavy as they thought it was going to be. But we feel on his day he's probably got that lot covered. So he'll do the races in 2 weeks, and we'll have him in the Everest 2 weeks after that. And on his day, if he gets a firm track and a truly run race, he's a pretty special horse to be a part of. So hopefully he can get redemption for last year. It was pretty disappointing with the way he went last year on that heavy track. So hopefully we can get him up there and show that he is the best sprinter in Australia.
And finally, probably Lyle. How did she go yesterday? I thought she was there to win. Didn't come up on the inside, but we're happy with that run and where she goes.
Yeah, we were really happy with her. We felt she was probably a bit underdone going into yesterday. She missed the run last week, just had a dirty scope last week, so we decided to save her, and we were humming and ahhing whether we went to the 1400 yesterday with Jim Maloney or the 1100, and fitness probably just wasn't up to the mark for the 1400. So she was there to win, and she was also there to be run down, and her fitness just gave out that last 100, and we're really happy with the way she's going. She's a filly that improves throughout her whole preparation. She obviously won the Blue Diamond last time in, and fell in a maiden at Sale in that preparation of her second start. So she's a horse that just keeps improving into her prep, and she put up really well this morning. So all things being well, she'll back up 8 days into the 1,000 guineas prelude, and we'll give her a shot at running a mile in the 1,000 guineas. But her first up run, we were humming and ahhing whether she was coming back as well as she did. But yesterday we were really happy with her.
Thanks, Aaron.